And right now, church, would you please help me welcome all of our locations, all of our campuses, extension services, all of you watching online. We're so glad that you're with us. And man, you guys are in for a real treat. We have with us today a very dear friend of mine and a very special guest, Pastor Steve Robinson from Church of the King in New Orleans, Louisiana. Come on, where New Orleans at? I was born in New Orleans, St. Charles Avenue. And Pastor Steve, he does lead an incredible church there, several thousand people, several campuses. And of course, he also pastors the New Orleans Dream Center, which was very, very instrumental during Hurricane Katrina. And his church was such really a support to the city during that time. And Steve is a brilliant, anointed man of God, and you guys are going to love him. So I want you to give the best Celebration Church welcome you can. Come on, stand to your feet. All of our campuses, let's give it up for Pastor Steve Robinson.
Thank you, buddy. Thank you. Wow. Well, it is so good being back. I was here, I think, 2 summers ago, and just fell in love with you guys and what God is doing here at this church. And I want to just say it's an honor to speak here and to be with you. And I want to also say this, you know, it's amazing to be able to see Pastor Stovall in his element and Carrie as well. And it's just amazing the team that has been placed together here. It's amazing just the group of, just all of you guys. When I came in, it was interesting. You know, there's more people running around. Can I help you? Can I serve you? What can we do? Ushers, greeters, parking lot people. There are parking lot people, I think, that start 5 miles away from this campus, starting to celebrations that way. I mean, it's like 5 miles from here, you know. And it really is a joy to be here. I want to just say one more thing. You know, you guys don't hear this because this is your church. But your pastor and Pastor Carrie and what they mean to me and what they mean to the body of Christ. Many times we'll say, you know, what is Celebration Church? What is Pastor Stovall doing? And you guys need to know that you are an inspiration, that this church is an inspiration. And I often say this, is that you know what God wants to do through a church by the gift that he gives that church in the pastor and his wife. Can we give it up for Pastor Stovall and Carrie? Come on. A great job. And I mean that. I have the privilege of bringing my son. I have 4 children. I brought my son who's 13 on this trip. I have a 15-year-old daughter. I have a 13-year-old son, an 11-year-old son, and a little Chinese adopted daughter that's 2. I love her dearly. And I have kids 13 years. I forgot how to do some of the baby stuff. I'm learning again. And this summer, I've been able to bring my kids on different trips. And so I have Conrad with me. And we went yesterday to, I think it's called Adventure Landing, is that right? Which is a water park. I don't like rides. I don't like any of those things. I went there because he wanted to go there, and I don't like actually doing them myself. I went on this thing, I don't know if it's called half Cylone, half Psycho, I'm not sure exactly what it's called, and you fall, it feels like you're going to hell. Come on, how many know what I'm talking about? I was like, so 2 summers ago, we spoke somewhere, and so some of the kids are out. I'm able to bring them places. We were in San Antonio, and so we went to Six Flags. And it was hot, long line. We stood in this line, and so there was this ride called the Boomerang. Well, I didn't know this. My son had asked somebody, you know, what's the scariest ride there? And I get on there, and I'm telling you, I get this vertigo thing working when at just my age. I just like, I don't like the ride, son. I'll go there. I'll do whatever. I'll watch you. He goes, no, Dad, you got to come. So I get on the ride. And so we get on this ride. The problem is it doesn't start this way. It starts going back. And so you're going back and you're going up the hill. And it's so high and it's so scary. I got to make a confession. And this is before God and all the people of God. It was so scary. We literally were going almost up, straight like this, that in the middle of it, I started like repenting. I'm like, son, I'm sorry. You know, I said something rude to your mom. You know, I'm like nervous out of my mind. I'm scared. Can I tell you, he's starting to get scared too. So he's kind of crying. I'm like, son, I just love you so much. I'm crying. This really happened. I said, Father, I just pray if I've sinned and I've done anything. And I grew up Catholic, and so I'm just please. And so here's the deal. But then you like hang. Again, I know up is heaven, but up felt like hell. Come on, can I have a witness? I was like, ah! And I'm like scared out of my mind. And you like hang, dangle. I can't think of something else. But anyway, so you're just right there. And I'm looking, I'm like screaming out of my, I'm like, ah, ah. And it was like a snapshot. Of course, you go 30 seconds, it's over. How many of y'all can feel that right now? She's like, ah, right in the front row. Okay, here's the deal. Here's the deal. It was over in about 30 seconds. It felt like an eternity. And there's a moment in that ride of uncertainty, you're just freaked out. Of course, it's a ride. Of course, it's over. But the reality is that's how sometimes in our lives we get. We are in moments of uncertainty, and it's like we're just dangling. It's like we're just hanging there. Some of you get a report, and the government says the recession ended in 2009. You're like, obviously it didn't inform my bank account. You think, what are you talking about? It ended. I mean, what's up with this? And you feel like you're dangling, and you're in uncertainty. And I'm going to tell you, when you're in moments of uncertainty, you feel pressure. You feel this sense of pressure all around you. Some of you are in relational situations right now, and you're uncertain. And you don't know, and they say, well, you know what, maybe we got to take a different course. You're like, what are you talking about, different course? This has been years. What do you mean? And what happens is, when you are in those times of uncertainty, there's this just like circular pressure, and you feel like you're being squeezed in. You can't go, you don't know, you can't go forward, you can't go backward. Maybe it was a report recently from a doctor. You went in there, you think, man, I'm healthy. I eat well. And you go in, and you get this report, and you're like, just freaked out. You're like, how did this happen? And you feel pressure. Whether it's relationships, whether it's economics, whether it's a business situation, the market turned, something happened. And all of us, by the way, all of us in here will face that. At all of our campuses, every single one of you, you'll come to a moment in your life, every single one of us, when we don't know what to do. Do we turn this way? Do we turn this way? We can't go back because we can't go. I want to talk to you today about how do you respond during times of uncertainty. I want to talk to you about how do you respond in times of pressure. It's not if it happens, it's when it happens. If you have your notes, if you're writing something down, I'm going to ask you guys to, on the back of your bulletin, if you don't have a bulletin or just a little piece of paper, this is a message that you need to take something down and you need to go over it, because this is where we all live. Hey, can I get real transparent with you guys today about something that happened in my life a couple years ago? I want to talk to you about when I went through the most incredible time of testing. Thank God I'm here, but let me just say this. All pressure is not bad pressure. I don't want to at all suggest that when you're under pressure, it's all bad, because the fact is that pressure, God actually uses pressure, if you understand. See, pressure is not designed to destroy you. Pressure is actually designed to grow you, if you understand how to work with it. See, muscles, you have atrophy. If you don't use, there's a certain level of pressure on your muscles that it grows your muscles. But if you don't respond correctly, if you don't know how to react appropriately, biblically, which we're going to talk about today, that pressure can destroy you. I wanted to start off with this little stress test. How do you know if you're under pressure? Hopefully this will help you guys out. This is just to answer a couple questions. You may find yourself under pressure if, and so I'm going to just name it, and you can agree with it or not. Number one, if conversations around your house begin with, no, put the plate down and then we can talk. Come on. How many of you know if plates are flying, there's a pressured situation? How about this one? The school principal has your number on speed dial. Come on. How many of you know? Come on, parents. You know what I'm talking about. How about this one? Your cat struggles taking Valium. Come on. There's an environment in their house. Okay, I'm a dad. I have 4 kids. I have a 15-year-old, a 13, an 11, and a little baby. So I understand the kid thing, and I'm a dad, and I want to say God bless you, fathers, on Father's Day. Can we say it up to the dads one more time? But you know, we live in this advanced generation, advanced civilization, so you know you're under pressure when you're trying to get your 4-year-old to switch to decaf. Come on. How many know what I'm talking about? Okay, so you guys get it. I've come to the right place. You guys understand pressure. The problem is when we face pressure, all of us respond. The question is, how do we respond? I want to give you 3 ways that are common ways of response. Number 1, when we get under pressure, one of the ways that people respond is that we can get lost in doubt and confusion. Here's the problem. You get hit with pressure psychologically. You start going through psychological warfare. The problem is everything you think you ultimately feel. And what you think and what you feel, ultimately you act upon. So you start thinking all these thoughts. You cannot think an independent thought without feeling that thought in a moment. You will start feeling fear. You start feeling. So we can get lost. We can't make a decision. We get locked up mentally. You just don't want to make a decision, which brings up point 2. When you're in uncertain times, sometimes you just withdraw or you ignore it. In other words, you do the whole ostrich thing, right? If I just put my head in the sand and ignore it, it'll go away. No, actually, if you ignore it, when your head finally gets up out of the sand, it grows and gets bigger. See, as Christ followers, we can't ignore our problems. God gives us the antidote and the solution and the enablement to go through our problems. We can't ignore them. Number 3, we can get overly aggressive and reactionary. See, I want to talk to the type A leadership personality people. This is what happens when you go through stress. You try to personality your way out of it. But the problem is that you end up hurting people. We say the wrong thing. I'm going to take control. So you go in command and control. You do this, you do that. And what it is there's a built-in defense mechanism that we all have. The problem is that we can say things in a harsh tone, in a harsh manner, because you're under pressure. Everyone say pressure. You're under pressure, so you feel it. You're trying to think of exit strategies. How do I get out of this? The problem is you can speak things in a harsh tone, and people have long memories, and you can damage people when you're under pressure. All of us in life, we fall into these different categories. The issue is not if, the issue is when. When you come under pressure, when you go into a time of uncertainty, how do you respond? I want to just say this. If you're under pressure, if you're in an uncertain time, relationally, financially, emotionally, a medical report, you don't know what to do with your business, ministry, things, turns, changes, you've come to a good place. Because this place is a Bible teaching, preaching place. We're going to go to the Word of God in a moment. I'm so grateful for Pastor Stovall. I love when he's preaching. I watch him on the internet. And so we're going to go to the Word. I'm not going to give you my opinion. I'm going to go to a biblical story and talk about God has solutions. He has principles to settle our lives, principles that we can build our lives as guideposts where we can make good decisions even amidst pressure. But 2005, I probably experienced one of the most radically, let me just say this, crazy seasons in my life. And our church started 5 years before that. I'm 43, actually exact same age as Pastor Stovall. And we were so excited, 30 years old, my wife and I, we go out, start this church. And man, 5 years, everything's exciting. Things are growing. People are getting saved. And just really powerful. We were just grateful to God. We wake up every day and we're like, man, we can't even believe that God lets us be part of this. And so I live in South Louisiana. And so I understand hurricanes. I understand the hurricane flow. I understand what goes on there. As a kid, I grew up, you go away for 2 days, you pack your bag. We called it, a hurricane vacation. You go away for 2 days in some hotel and you come back. And, of course, as many of you know, and some of you are from that area and even came over here after Katrina, you know that it was different this time. I remember the week before Katrina, man, we were celebrating. 5 years, we had 3,245 people in the building. That's a big thing for preachers, like, God is moving. So we hear about this hurricane. It was a tropical storm, and then it turns into a hurricane. They're like, you need to evacuate. So we make plans, go up to Jackson, Mississippi, which was foolish. It actually went right through there, knocked the power out. But anyway, so I began to realize, my gosh, this is different. And so as it came through,